So good evening and welcome to the inaugural program of IAP Kerala Nutrition Week Observation, jointly organized by IAP Kerala and IAP Thiruvananthapuram. On behalf of IAP Thiruvananthapuram, I welcome our State President T.P. Jayaraman sir, Secretary Johnny Sebastian sir, today's speaker Sindhu madam from Kozhikode, and our moderator Kamala madam, and other senior faculties, Purushothaman sir, Shija madam, Bindusha madam, and all other delegates. So for the presidential address, I invite Jayaraman sir.
Good evening, everybody. Respected Secretary of Trivandrum IAP, Dr. Praveen, Dr. Johnny Sebastian, Dr. Purushothaman, all the authorities on the platform. I'm very happy to be part of this inaugural function of the Nutrition Week celebrations of Indian Academy of Pediatrics Kerala. Actually, this is one program we have started from this year, and I hope it will continue in the coming years, because it is time for us to go back to basics and start think about nutrition also. So we started with a very good conference on very good CME on Sunday on the Kerala NutriCon. And today we had the DA program again arranged by IAP and IAP Kerala and Nutrition chapter along with Central IAP. And now we are having our inauguration, and I'm happy and I congratulate IAP Trivandrum and Dr. Praveen for arranging program on such short notice, and also to Dr. Sindhu for obliging to be the speaker for this program. I actually called her on Saturday morning. So thank you so much, and I hope we'll have a wonderful week ahead with a lot of programs on nutrition. I wish the very best for these activities. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite Dr. Johnny Sebastian, Secretary IAP Kerala, for the felicitation.
Good evening all. Respected Chair Santosh sir, Secretary Dr. Praveen, IAP Kerala President and my leader Jayaraman sir, Purushothaman sir, Indumati madam, Shija madam, esteemed moderator and speakers Kamala madam and Sindhu ma'am, seniors and dear colleagues. I am in fact very happy to see IAP Trivandrum branch organize this inaugural session and webinar today as part of National Nutrition Week celebrations by IAP Kerala, with a very short notice given to IAP Trivandrum. As we all know, IYCF is the topic today, and it's an effective public health intervention to enhance the child survival, nutrition and development. And as we all know, this year we had done a lot of activities to improve exclusive breastfeeding in our state through our state president's MBFHI program. And in fact, a major component of IYCF in the early years of life is the provision of breast milk and appropriate nutrient-dense complementary feeds. So to hear more on this topic, we have an excellent speaker and an excellent moderator too. I wish this webinar all success. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai IAP.
Thank you, sir. Now we have Dr. Sri Prasad, Chairperson Nutrition Chapter. I invite Dr. Sri Prasad for a felicitation.
Thank you, Dr. Praveen. We are so happy that a lot of activities are getting conducted by IAP Kerala along with Central IAP. Today we had a great program with the active involvement of Indumati madam, Bindusha madam, Vijaykumar sir and Vishnu Mohan. And Sunday also, as mentioned by our president, we had a good CME with a great attendance. And tomorrow it's I think tomorrow it's our turn, and along with Alappuzha, Wayanad and Kozhikode should come forward. I think Wayanad and Kozhikode are there. So a lot of programs are getting organized by the direction of our President, Dr. T.P. Jayaraman sir. I'm so happy that IAP Trivandrum came forward for the inaugural session with a beautiful academic session today by Sindhu madam. And I wish all the success to this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sri Prasad. And now we move on to the academic program. I invite Dr. Kamala, consultant pediatrician and neonatologist, Ananthapuri Hospital, Trivandrum, to moderate the session.
Good evening to all. Let me thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. We know that the National Nutrition Week was introduced in March 1973 by members of the American Dietetics Association to deliver a nutrition education message. And we in India started commemorating the National Nutrition Week from 1982 to spread the awareness and encourage everyone to understand the importance of nutrition and adopt a healthy, sustainable lifestyle. And the theme for the National Nutrition Week 2021 is feeding smart right from start. So here comes the importance of pediatricians. Pediatricians' role is very important. Today during daytime, we listen to an elaborate session from stalwarts on nutrition on micronutrient deficiency, the burden of the disease, and we had a very great panel discussion on it. Now let us hear from Dr. Sindhu T G, Professor of Pediatrics in Government Medical College, Kozhikode, to enlighten us on IYCF practices to tackle the hidden hunger. As we know, micronutrient deficiency is very common in our country. And according to the CNNS data, 2016-2018, 41% of preschoolers are anemic, 18% have vitamin A deficiency, zinc deficiency is seen in 19%, and almost 1/4 have folate deficiency. And so here lies the importance of screening for micronutrient deficiency and instituting practices to prevent this disease burden. So let us hear from Dr. Sindhu in this context and see how best IYCF practices help in tackling and preventing the micronutrient deficiency disorders. Over to you, Dr. Sindhu.
Just a minute. Is my screen visible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Good evening, all. First of all, I would like to thank IAP Kerala, Jayaraman sir, and IAP Trivandrum for giving me this opportunity. I think Trivandrum is second to me. I belong to Kozhikode, but I have worked 7 years there. And at that time, I had an opportunity to work with Elizabeth Madam, and that I had seen Madam preparing the module for IYCF, the initial in the early 2010 that period, and also the SAM module. So I think that has created a lot of interest of me in nutrition. So I'm very happy to see that IAP is organizing 1 week programs this year, and this will help to increase awareness and interest among the juniors regarding the nutrition. And my today's topic, we had a long discussion, in the afternoon we had on this micronutrients. Today in this session, I will be going what is meant by that hidden hunger, and what are these determinants, consequences, and prevention strategies, and moreover, how we can apply the IYCF guidelines for prevention of this hidden hunger. That is the main. In the next 30 minutes, I will be doing this. So we are everybody aware of the triple burden of malnutrition. That means actually the malnutrition means on both all these three things. That is undernutrition, the micronutrient deficiency, also known as the hidden hunger, and the overnutrition. So, 1 second. Okay. So this thing, we had learned a lot about this undernutrition, and now we are very much aware of the overnutrition, obesity, everybody is concerned. And now we know that this micronutrient deficiency is also increasing concern. This triple burden can occur at a country level. In the same country, you can have all these three coexisting, and also in a family level. Even one mother may be obese, and her child may be having underweight, and one of the child is having anemia. So all these three can coexist in the family, and even a same person. A person can be obese, meantime being stunted, and also he can have anemia. So this triple burden can occur at any level. So I am mainly concerned with the micronutrient deficiency, also known as the hidden hunger. So what is it? It is a deficiency of vitamins and trace elements, which are required only less than 100 milligram per day. Why it is called as hidden hunger? Because we know there are some of the manifestations of this micronutrient deficiencies are very visible, such as anemia, goiter. But most of the time, it is not easy to recognize. That we know that whenever there is an iron deficiency, to occur the anemia, before that there are several other manifestations of it. So the health impacts are very wide also. So we don't recognize them frequently. So it is called as hidden hunger also. So there are several micronutrients, but WHO has identified certain elements, certain micronutrients, which are the deficiencies are they concern. These include iron, zinc, iodine, vitamin A. These are the 4 crucial elements, and a lesser extent vitamin D, folate, B12. And you can see these are very important for various body function also. So what is the prevalence? If you're considering all the population of all ages, it is said that at least 1/3 of the population is having some forms of micronutrient deficiency. And in under 5 children, almost half of them are having it. You can see this map, worldwide map, where you can see that when we are assessing the hidden hunger, these first 4 things are considered. The zinc, iron, vitamin A deficiency is used to calculate the hidden hunger index that is given in various shades of this orange. You can see India is alarmingly high risk of this hidden hunger. But on the other hand, you can see the iodine deficiency may be due to our iodized salt use or is not that much prevalent in India. So this is the present scenario of this micronutrient deficiency over the world. So why these are occurring? The major determinant is a poor quality of diet. That may be due to various reasons. The poverty is one of the important reasons, but there are some other features. Change in the diet style, they may be thinking some of the processed food, some type of foods are better and they are not using only that. And in the older age group, there may be a peer pressure and also several other cultural and environmental factors contributing the poor quality diet. And also this problem with absorption or due to loss due to infections also contribute to the deficiency. So what are the consequences? We can see what are the consequences of this hidden hunger. The most important one for a child is concerned is the poor growth and development, especially the brain growth. The brain growth is very much dependent on this type of micronutrients, and they have an impaired immunity. And some of them, when there is a deficiency is increased, you can say there will be specific deficiency disease also occur. And for some conditions like zinc and all, usually it may say general growth retardation, and it can alter the physical and mental functions of the child also. So we can find that there are several consequences of this hidden hunger. So we know that to attain the SDG goals, this the second one is entirely for the hunger. So we have to end the zero hunger to reach, we have to address this micronutrient hidden hunger also. And it is the determinant to attain all other SDG goals also. So the prevention, when you are considering the strategies of prevention, there are 3 main things. One is a dietary diversification, food fortification, and supplementation. When you are seeing this, the supplementation has the maximum immediate effect. You can just correct it by giving a nutrient, and food fortification is the intermediate step, and ideally we have to aim at dietary diversification. So these are the basic about the micronutrient deficiencies. Then coming to my today's discussion, how you can correct this the younger age, how the IYCN practices. So I think this concept is in limelight for more than last 15 years. That is the critical window period of nutritional programming of 1,000 days. So we have in the baby, we have the IYCF and the maternal nutrition in the initial days. So the terminology now it is more appropriate is IYCF. And why it is important, I think there is no need for explanation. During this period, the maximum growth from the zygote, the child, 2-year-old child, it attains 20% of adult weight, 50% of height, and 80% of brain growth. And any problem at this period is linked to childhood mortality, under-5 mortality, and some problems in adult life also. At this period, the child is entirely dependent upon the caregivers for the nutrition. So we have to concentrate at this period. And it includes both breastfeeding and complementary feeding, and that is known as infant and young child feeding. So I will discuss how we will address the micronutrient deficiency in these two settings. So breastfeeding, mainly the nutrient is coming from breast milk. And we used to say the breast milk is the complete food and it contains all the nutrients, though we know that there may be some requirements other than. And also this nutritional value of some of the constituents depends upon the mother's diet. So we have to ensure that the mother is taking adequate nutrition. How to assume there are some recommendations for such a mother should take 3 meals and 3 snacks during the first 6 months of exclusive breastfeeding. And for the micronutrient part concerned, the next thing is more important. They should take minimum of the 5 recommended food groups that include the, these grains, these nuts, all these meat products, milk products, all these. There are 10 groups are given in the recommendation, and at least 5 should be consumed in each day. Apart from, there is national recommendations for providing iron folic acid supplementation during these 6 months of exclusive breastfeeding. That is 60 milligram of elemental iron plus 500 microgram of folic acid. And also calcium of program. They recommend, national recommendation is 100 milligram of calcium for first 6 months. Though there is no recommendation for vitamin D, IAP also recommends the mothers should take 600 international units of vitamin D during this period. So after this breastfeeding, we are going to the complementary feeding. There are several guidelines for the complementary feeding, but I always like these 10 principles forwarded by the WHO. So when we are applying this, all these are important for the baby's nutrition, but some of them more apt for this micronutrient deficiency. The most important one, the 8 and 9, that is the adequate nutrient content, a variety of foods to be consumed by the baby. And also the use of vitamin mineral supplements or fortified products for infants and mother. And also the first and second principle also has more importance when you are considering the micronutrients. So we will go in these things in a little bit detail. So the first thing is exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months and introduction of complementary foods. Why this is chosen? Because up to 6 months meets nutrient needs. So we know we need to supplement vitamin K at birth and vitamin D. There is still controversies, and at least the at-risk babies require that. And some of them recommend from 4th month onwards iron, though almost other needs are met by the breast milk. So it recommends exclusive breastfeeding up to 6 months, but it is insufficient after 6 months. So we have to go with the complementary feeds. That is, this recommendation is also for this adequate nutrient intake. Then the second is maintaining breastfeeding for up to 2 years. The graph on the side, you can see this, even the second year, the energy requirements, more than 1/3 is provided from breast milk. The protein, more than half the child gets from breast milk, and vitamin A more than 75%. But when it's concerned with the iron, it will only 10% is provided by breast milk. Even though it's a significant portion of nutrients are provided by the breast milk, so every mother should continue to breastfeed the baby even at least up to 2 years. So they can see the vitamin A, one important determinant is obtained from the breast milk. So coming to the next principle, which is mainly applicable to this micronutrient, is the 8th one, that is adequate nutrient content, a variety of foods to be included. After 6 months, the breast milk provides less than 50% of iron, zinc, vitamin D, calcium. So our complementary feed should be rich in these. So how to get these things? Here comes the need of diversity of food items. They have given 7 groups. So the child should consume these all groups. These include grains, roots and tubers, legumes, nuts, dairy products, flesh food, eggs, vitamin A-rich food, vegetables and other foods. One important point to mention, all the recommendations are now for introducing animal food even at an earlier, even before 1 year of age. Only because it's the main source of food, these nutrients, especially iron and zinc. The main sources are the animal foods. So they have to introduce at an early age. So this is the minimum diversity of dietary diversity recommended for this age group. 6 to 23 years, they should consume at least 4 groups in a day. So if they are taking, we say that child is having the minimum dietary diversity. So they have given the separately vitamin A rich fruits and other fruits are given in separate groups. You can see that in our food groups, the sugar and oil is not included in any of these groups. And now there is no recommendation, that is, they recommend that sugar or salt should not be added extra to the complementary feeds. So how you are filling the gap? You can see the gap is there during the second year. So if you are providing the different diversity of the foods, you can see the recommended frequency for a breastfed baby is 5 times. That include 3 main meals and 2 snacks. If you are providing a variety of things like porridge, rice, beans, orange, liver, green leaves, snacks, all these combinedly fills the gap. You can see that the protein gap is a little overfilled. But to fit the most important thing, an introduction of this liver or an animal food increases. Just a second. To fill the gap of iron very much, and always this zinc always follows iron. Most of the food rich in iron are rich in zinc also. So there needs the importance of animal foods. In case of cultural factors, they are opting for vegetarian diets, needs supplementation. So there's a minimum acceptable diet is also given. In this, to give a minimum acceptable diet at this period, they should contain, for a breastfed baby, they should have a minimum diversity along with the frequency as recommended. For a non-breastfed children, apart from these 2, they should take at least 2 milk feeding. This is as per the CNN and the Comprehensive National Nutrition Survey. You can see that the minimum acceptable diet in all over India is very low, and the dietary diversity is also not good. This green are for breastfed babies. This is also not a good value we can see. So we have to improve a lot on this. The NFHS data, 5 data for the states are there out. That is the 19 data is out. When in Kerala is considered, you can see the adequate diet receiving in Kerala is less than 1/4. So we need to think and act on these aspects also. We have to increase the diversity and this recommended frequency. We have to work more. In this regard, I would like to think this Amritam. This is because this is available. This is given free of cost through the Anganwadis for all these children in this age. It contains a lot of micronutrients and most of the contains, and it's, but there are few issues with it. It is given at 6 months, but we know that we usually recommend that this complementary feed should be started with a monocereal, or now there's a recommendation for starting it with some vegetable puri and all. So these things, but it should be a single type. So ideally this introduction should be a little bit delayed. Otherwise it's a good nutrient for this, because these are given every child under this government program free of cost. And there is one more issue, that it contains a 20% of sugar. That may be a concern in the when you are using the new recommendations of not adding sugar to the complementary feeds. But apart from that, if you see the that RDA of our children in this age group, most of this iron, zinc, there is a significant proportion is covered by this. If you are taking a recommended servings per day, it is covering a lot of it. So we can think we have to make necessary modifications so that we can use it for our, we all don't have an RUTF. So we can as it is freely available, we have to take some steps to modify this thing and to get it as a ready to use supplementary feeds in some case. So I will discuss one case scenario. It is one of a baby presented with fever, rhinitis, and a febrile seizure. The mother gives a history of craving for mud, and examination child was having pallor. There was no organomegaly or lymphadenopathy, and all the other systems are within normal. When inquired in the dietetic history, that is a typical dietetic history we got in our area near Kozhikode. The staple diet is kanji. Most of the time they give kanji, and they are very much interested in giving black tea. And usually along with some biscuits, these are very freely available. And child is continued to breastfeed. And the investigations show a low hemoglobin with a decreased MCV, MCH, MCHC, and an increased RDW. So we made a diagnosis of iron deficiency anemia. It is very common in this age group, and during this age group, it's a very common. And the dietary habits are mainly, and they are not receiving, even though there are several programs, their national program is there, they are not receiving the supplements. So there are several factors that contribute to the iron deficiency in this age group. Our diet contains several cereals that may contain high phytates that may inhibit the iron absorption, and the intakes of fruits and vegetables are less, which are, if you are taking fruits with ascorbic acid, they will promote the absorption of iron. Instead of they are taking tea and coffee with the meals, which will decrease the absorption. And some of them are very much addicted to give large amount of animal milk. If animal milk consumption is more than 500 or so, it can produce iron deficiency anemia. And iron supplements are less utilized. And usually in our area, less than 1 year, animal foods are not given. Even though the other family members may be consuming it, it is not given. So these are some dietary practices that contributes to iron deficiency. So we have to discourage some of the habits. Actually, they are not supposed to give tea or coffee to the less than 2-year-old child. That will interfere with iron absorption, and they may decrease the appetite of the child. And so also the sugar-sweetened beverages. They provide only calorie. They decrease the appetite for other more nutritious food. It is also an empty calorie. And fruit juices, and most of the health pediatric association not recommend fruit juices. They encourage to have the fruits as such. And all of you will be aware of the loose stools that is produced due to the excessive fruit juice intake. So also there are recommendation against the junks. Let's include the ultra processed foods. That is not recommended. If you are giving this processed food in early life, they will be, their taste buds are tuned for this processed food. So better to use homemade preparation. And there is no need to prepare separately for the child itself. They can modify the normal family diet for the nutrient needs of the child. Especially if the mother don't have much time to dedicate, especially for the child alone, she can modify the normal family diet for the needs of the child. And there is now we usually recommend increase the energy density by adding sugar and all. Now they say it is not that much recommended. So the next principle that is mainly concerned is the use of vitamin and mineral supplements or fortified products. So we have to address the key nutrients like iron, zinc, iodine, vitamin A. WHO recommends that you can use several ways, that food fortifications using fortified cereals, oils, milk, and point of use micronutrient powders and good food treatment techniques. All these are recommended. So we will see how we can go with it. So there are 2017 regulations for fortification. What is fortification? It is deliberately increasing the contents of essential micronutrients in the food so as to improve the nutritional quality of food and to provide public health benefit with minimal risk to health. They also say this regulation recommends promote the use of fortified food through government programs. We all know that there is a mandatory fortification of common salt with iodine. There is a ban on sale of non-iodized salt for human consumption from 2006. Previously started on 97, then the ban was removed, and finally from 2006, we have only this iodized salt. And it provides minimum of ensures 1 gram provides 15 microgram. And average consumption of salt in our population in India is 10, though the WHO recommends only 5. We have a higher amount of salt consumption, and if you are taking 10 grams, it will provide 15 micrograms. So that is approximately 150 microgram that is recommended. So this iron fortification and this salt fortification with iodine is very important in controlling this iodine deficiency disorders. So we can have now this act recommends the fortification of other foods also, mainly milk, oil, salt, rice, all that. I don't know how many of it are available. I am using this Milma milk is fortified with A&D for more than last 2 years. This and there are several oils are fortified. And if you fortify, this is the symbol, this F+, that is this law says that you have to use this symbol F, that should be used for this fortified products. So you can promote the use of fortified foods. These are fortification is mainly for vitamin A, D, iron, and also in this atta, rice, there is a fortification with iron, B12, folic acid, other B complex vitamins. There is also recommendation for maida also. I don't know which all are available. I am sure this oil and milk are available. I am using this. There's a new concept of biofortification also. There's some that is here fortified there. When during this protection of crop itself, we are increasing the nutrients either by using selection of this conventional crops which have more nutrient content, or using transgenic method that is not approved in all areas. So we have vitamin A, orange, sweet potato, vitamin A, maize, and iron, beans, all these are. The other fortification, after the crop is harvested, we are processing and adding the new fortification. The other, at the production level itself, it is fortified. And this is more useful in the village level where they are consuming their own products. So there are some home food processing and cooking practices, like there's our conventional, like if you're soaking, it may reduce phosphates and phytates. usually soak all the pulses and all. Fermentation, our dosha and all these fermentations, they will improve B12, improves phytase. This yeast will improve the B12 efficiency. And germination also decreases the phytase and tannins, and it's very useful for legumes. And some cooking practices. Cooking food in cast iron vessels by simmering. That is, if you are in low flame, low pH, vegetables are cooked first for soup and long time, it will increase the iron content. But frying in a cast iron won't give that result. And mild heat treatment releases bound carotenoids. And one thing that when you are using, even if you are using iodized salt, if you are using early, if you are adding it early, there's a chance of vaporization and losing this iodine. So better to add the iodized salt towards the end of cooking. So we will see one more case. That's we had an 18-month-old child admitted with history of excessive tiredness and irritability. Child had a significant pallor, but no organomegaly. There was a pigmentation of necklace were present. While taking the history, the mothers, all the family members are taking a mixed diet. But the mother doesn't like this diet, and he's a strict vegan. He's not taking any milk or milk product, and or any animal foods. And the child is also taking breastfeeding, and the child is also mainly dependent on a vegetarian diet. Her CBC showed bicytopenia with low platelet and hemoglobin, and with this clinical and the RDW was elevated, and MCV was between maybe due to this both deficiencies, and child had both B12 and ferritin levels were normal, low. So the peripheral smear and bone marrow were suggestive of a megaloblastic anemia. So we diagnosed B12 and combined this deficiency, and we had as given with oral vitamin B12, the child improved and this hemoglobin level increased. So that's the importance of what is a direct supplementation. We do direct supplementation. In India, we have programmatic supplementation for vitamin A, iron, and zinc. Vitamin A, a longer period, we have vitamin A prophylaxis program starting from 9 months till 5 years, 9 doses. There may be some controversies, are we over supplementing? And there is some plan to discontinue it and all. So still we are continuing, but it is given only in the government hospitals, and also a significant group of children are missing. Most of them are taking it during this immunization visit only. Then iron supplementation, which is there for long time, but little bit, only a little improvement in our anemia prevalence. And zinc supplementation is now, we are giving it for children with ADD only for 2 weeks. So these are the programmatic supplementation. Then case-based supplementation for vitamins, vitamin K, vitamin D, B12, you have to consider for a strict vegans, and other and multiple micronutrient powder. I think it is not available here. These are also some in case by case we have to decide. So the iron supplementation, we have the Anemia Mukt Bharat program, that is the intensified national iron plus initiative. They recommend the prophylactic iron and folic acid supplementation for our kids. So for the infancy and the first year, during this period, they get 1 ml of iron folic acid syrup, which contains 20 milligram of elemental iron and 100 microgram of folic acid bi-weekly. Actually, the JPHN, I think, is in charge, and they have to educate the mother how to dispense it. And the initial 2 or 3 visits, they have to do under supervision, they have to give it, because it's a highly concentrated thing. And pregnant and lactating mothers, pregnancy, they get in the last 2 trimesters, 180 days, and in the first 6 months of exclusive breastfeeding. There are other aspects of this program. There is an intensified year-bound around behavior changes. We have to teach them how to improve the iron and how to prevent anemia. There are several steps. I am not going to elaborate it in detail. So when we see the Kerala, where we stand, this is the NFHS 5. She is showing what is this status. You can see the 3 critical elements. That is the iron stands the least. That is only iron supplements are taken for very, very minute in the early ages. It is very low. So, also the iodine deficiency, iodine, it is more of very good consumption, and the vitamin A also they are taking. And the consuming food also, iron-rich food also, it is very low. So there is no surprise that iron deficiency anemia is a significant. More than 39% of under 5 children are having iron deficiency anemia, with 15% having even a moderate level. So iron deficiency, we have to concentrate more on this. So any other supplements, whenever you are having a preterm babies, they recommend more. The IAP IYCF chapter recommends that we have to give more supplementation of these micronutrients for preterm babies. They may need even some like zinc, vitamin A also, and calcium and phosphorus up to 10 term, and vitamin D should be given till 1 year, and iron, smaller babies may start early and may require more quantity. So there is the preterms, there is a recommendation, a separate recommendation. So you can see the food, you cannot see it alone. It is highly related to health. And the meanwhile, even if they have food, even without having a proper education to give these nutrients to this baby, it is no way. And some of there are the poverty and other things, you need a social protection to provide. The national programs may be needed. And if child is having recurrent infection, whatever things child is taking may not be. So all things are interlinked. So we have to use all these to provide the better nutrition to these children. So I think at the planning to wind up my session. That is all of you know that this hidden hunger or the micronutrient deficiency is a great concern among our infants and young children. And we can utilize this IYCF practices. If you are adhering to this, we can definitely fight out this. At least we can decrease this prevalence. Okay, these are my references, mainly IYCF guidelines from IAP, then WHO, and the national guidelines. And also, these are this. Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sindhu. You have beautifully elaborated all the IYCF practices that can be done to prevent micronutrient deficiency, especially the dietary diversification that is recommended, what all things can be given, and taking a leaf out of Elizabeth Madden's teachings, the rainbow revolution, the GYOR colored food materials, and also regarding the food fortification now. Thank you. That was a great talk. Thank you. So, questions from the audience?
Sindhu madam, this NIPI program, is it happening really now, or because of the COVID, it will be getting diluted?
Which program?
NIPI, this prophylactic iron bi-weekly.
Most of the peripheral centers are having this iron and folic acid supplements with them, but it's whether they are providing it is a concern from the recents. I think most of them are getting this syrup. But this, we are very well aware of that. It is given to the mother, and they may consume it. We usually, even previously also, we used to get several poisoning, iron poisoning. So they are very much worried about dispensing it to the mothers without proper training.
Thank you.
That is why even our this NFHS data, only a very low percentage of children are getting the supplements.
Sindhu madam, after 6 months, we are regularly starting iron prophylaxis along with the routine vitamin D that we are giving. But it is very difficult for the to insist upon the complaints. Many people say that with once they start iron, the children are having diarrhea, constipation, or just gas iron bi-weekly iron these are the common complaints that we are hearing. And do you think you have very good complaints on the younger age group on the iron? And the question is regarding the micronutrient deficiencies. We know that there might not be many signs or symptoms of this quite early. Especially when handling fussy eaters, do you really recommend giving? You mentioned micronutrient powders. Like there any other supplements which contain micronutrients for these fussy eaters before the symptoms or signs appear?
The final answer to this whole micronutrient deficiency is the dietary diversification. It's the best option. We have to concentrate on. And next thing is the fortified feeds. These two things won't have this much problem. So we have to go with these other two things because the supplementation acceptance is less. So they are going to introduce this, fortified salt with iron and iodine, and also the rice, even this, you can see the atta may be available with this fortified iron. All these things can be improved, and if possible, introduce animal foods also. That is not seen in our area. That may be better option. And this micronutrient powder are also only to be given in case-to-case basis, and I think it is not available. Or there also main recommendation is to give this dietary diversity. We don't know which all nutrients are deficient. So this diversification is the main thing you can improve the micronutrient status.
Sindhu, iron tablets in the strength 6,500. No, is there a difference between the bits in the other 100, 500?
Sir, the anemia Mukt Bharat, all the tablets are decreased to 60, I think.
6,500. Adolescent in the
they are having different color, but they are using strength is given. And the school age children, I think, little bit little lower strength.
എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു സാറേ അത് വിപ്സിന്റെ ഡോസ് മാറ്റിയിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അതായത് ഇപ്പൊ വരുന്നത് ചെറുതാണ്.
ചെറിയൊരു കൺഫ്യൂഷൻ അവിടെ ഉണ്ട്. അവർ ക്ലാരിറ്റിന്റെ കുറവുണ്ട് നമുക്ക്. പിന്നെ IAP recommendation, I think at the end of this month, we should come up with certain recommendations to the national level, just like the junk food in the IAP guidelines. Every year there should be some. The advertisement about the baby food is advertisement about the baby food, whether we can do something. So we cannot touch them. IAP alla aaram viyarichinalum avaronnum thodan pattilla. Appo adonnu karyengilum at least namakoru ശ്രമം നടത്തുന്ന രീതിയിൽ പറയണം എന്നുള്ള കാര്യം. രണ്ടാമത്തത് കാര്യം, the presentation of certain vitamins in the market, especially vitamin D. Vitamin D is available from 1 ml containing 400 to 1 drop containing 200 units. So that's causing problems. Other same name also, same name then different strengths are coming, just like your paracetamol. So there should be a guidelines for the marketing in the uniformity the guardian varandad and the private and government institutions, the disparity should not be there, at least for the government programs like your NIPI Aikote, Vitamin A Aikote. It should be provided through private institutions and government institutions equally, because almost the three private vitamin A only iron and syrup. All these things should be neonatal screening programs. That should be private government disparity should not be there. All these things should come as a recommendation from IAP to the government.
Elizabeth Madam has joined. Madam, can you please unmute?
Dr. Sindhu, that was a very good talk. I was also thinking in my mind the same thing of dietary diversification. Many parents are not aware. And I think that is where the improving the awareness of these people, especially around 6 months, many of them are not aware what to give, what not to give. And then, we have the old mothers still telling to give juices and all that. So I think a lot of awareness, community awareness is one of the important things to improve the diversification of diet. And in the Western countries, as you said, they are starting off the non-vegetarian food a little earlier. So they seem to be better off in all this like zinc and iron. Yeah, so I think I enjoyed your talk. Really, it was a very good talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Praveen. And thank you, Dr. Sindhu. We are really proud of you, having you back in Trivandrum, giving this excellent talk on IYCF. I know IYCF is one of your pet topics. I've heard you presenting it earlier also. And regarding that question from Dr. Purushothaman, I would like to say that the NIPI, the Anemia Prophylaxis Program, Anemia Free Pink India, everything has been now brought under the Anemia Mukt Bharat. There is only one program. And the toolkit can be downloaded. It is an excellent toolkit which gives a lot of guidelines. Even the treatment, they say 3 mg per kg per day is all what is needed. Because when you give more iron, there will be more unbound iron, and which can cause oxidative damage, and also E. coli infectious morbidity can be there. And regarding the concentration of the iron, now under Anemia Mukt Bharat, the tolerable upper limit of iron is only 45 milligram. Nelson also says so. Our ICMR 2020 also says so. So they have brought it down from 100 to 60. Only thing is that the color is different for the 10 to 19 years boys and girls. That is blue color. And the other for the mother, the same, but it is 60 milligram and 500 microgram of folic acid, but it is red color. That is because these are being procured under different headings, different allocations. The school health program has a different allocation, and they are not supposed to interchange it. Otherwise, they may run out of one stock and they may overuse it in the other sector. So that is not supposed to be intermixed. And then 5 to 10 years, it is weekly iron, which is a pink tablet, which is containing 45 milligram of iron and 400 microgram of folic acid. And for the 6 months to 5 years, it is 1 ml of iron, which is 20 milligram of elemental iron and 100 microgram of folic acid. And the adult tablet, the tablet has been, it used to be Enric coated, so less bioavailable. Now they have made it, that the strength has been brought down, but it is now sugar coated tablet. That is the difference in the Anemia Mukt Bharat. Thank you very much.
Can I ask one question? Clear doubt. Sindhu, it was a nice talk. Why there is no rice in Amruthampudi? Is it because of difficulty in preserving, or?
Okay, I don't know, madam. I actually, it is in the packet. It is they are prepared like that. Actually, we need a supplementary feed for us.
Okay.
We should interact with the ICDS or the Kudumbasri to make some changes so that it can be used as our RESF.
And so many things are there, and
so you cannot give. They are recommending it for so many mothers. They are starting the complementary feeding with that. It's actually a supplementary feed for them. It is not a complementary thing.
Okay.
Madam, Collector Anupama Madam, but at Trichur in the Samet. Now she is Manida Vigasana Madam, at the Agricultural University in the ഒരു മിഠായി മാതിരിയുള്ള സാധനം കുടുംബശ്രീ ആർക്കെ കൂടിയിട്ടായിട്ട് ഉണ്ടാക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അപ്പം അതാണ് അതിന്റെ പറഞ്ഞതിന്റെ കലോറി കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ എന്തൊക്കെയോ തെറ്റ കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. പക്ഷെ അത് ഒരു നല്ലൊരു ഇനിഷ്യേറ്റീവ് ആയിരുന്നു അത്. പക്ഷെ പിന്നെയും കൊണ്ട് പറഞ്ഞു കേട്ടില്ല അപ്പോഴത്തെ കൊറോണയൊക്കെ വന്ന്. അത് ഇപ്പൊ നടന്നു പോകുന്നുണ്ടാവോ?
സർ, എല്ലാവർക്കും ഈ at a lower class family, they are all getting it and they are using some. But they have to utilize it in different ways of cooking. Otherwise, I think ICDS is conducting. I have attended once. There is some, before this corona, they are having some melas to showing different items prepared with this amrudam powder. And there's noolpitte, upumava, several things, laddu, cake, all this they are making with this.
അതാ അട്ടപ്പാടിയില് പ്രഭുദാസ് അതിനെ കൊണ്ട് വേറെ എന്തെല്ലാം ഉണ്ടാക്കിയിട്ട് കൊടുക്കുന്ന പരിപാടിയുണ്ട്. അത് അമൃതംപൊടിയെ കൊണ്ട് പല പലഹാരങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടാക്കിയിട്ട് അവർക്ക് they don't like this thing. അവരെ വേറെ എന്തെങ്കിലും ആക്കി കൊടുത്താലൊക്കെ കഴിക്കും, ഇതങ്ങനെ കഴിക്കില്ല. അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ. പിന്നെ about vitamin C, I think we had a few cases when the ഒരു ഡിസേബിലിറ്റി ഗ്രൂപ്പ്, cerebral palsy, prolonged bedridden situations, നമ്മള് even otherwise we'll be giving to them vitamin D and C, but we had a few cases of rickets there and scurvy also. Regarding the food fortification, I think that was in 2009 or 10. There was some വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പും കാര്യമായിട്ട് നടന്നിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അതിന്റെ ഒരു നെഗറ്റീവ് സൈഡ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞത്, നമ്മളിപ്പോ ഫുഡ് ഫോർട്ടിഫിക്കേഷൻ എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് പബ്ലിക് പ്രൈവറ്റ് പാർട്ടിസിപ്പേഷൻ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് വരും. they will make use of this thing for their advantage. നമ്മളിപ്പോ ന്യൂട്രീഷനും സയൻസും പറയുന്നിടത്ത് they will see business. അപ്പോ ഒരു കിലോ അരിന്റെ അകത്ത് മറ്റു സാധനം ഫോർട്ടിഫൈ ചെയ്യുന്നു പറയും, that will be costing just like your organic rice എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് കൂട്ടുന്ന പോലെയുള്ള ഒരു തട്ടിപ്പ് പരിപാടിയായിട്ട് മാറുകയും ചെയ്യും. That's a problem with the fortification. നമ്മളെല്ലാം ശാസ്ത്രീയമായിട്ട് ചിന്തിക്കുന്നു, that's good thing എന്നൊക്കെ പറയുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങൾ ശരി തന്നെ. അപ്പോ it should be entirely by the government machinery, public-private participation and the chance of them taking advantage of all these situations. അതൊന്ന് careful ആയിട്ടിരിക്കുന്ന കാര്യമുണ്ട്.
Any other queries?
There's one question I think there.
Yeah, one question in the chat box. Brain neurons and specialized connections develop fastest during first 6 months, and depending on exclusive breastfeeding without supplementation of all vitamins and minerals, which are all not adequate in breast milk, is unjustified.
അത് അതിനോട് താത്വികമായിട്ട് ഒരു തരത്തിലും യോജിക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല. അതായത് എക്സ്ക്ലൂസീവ് ബ്രസ്റ്റ് ഫീഡിങ് നമ്മൾ പറയുന്നത് തന്നെയും നേച്ചറിന്റെ അകത്ത് ഇപ്പൊ ഈ വൈറ്റമിൻസ് കണ്ടെത്തിയിട്ട് എത്ര വർഷമായിട്ടുണ്ട്. ആൻഡ് ഹ്യൂമൻ ബീങ്സ് ആർ ഹിയർ ബ്രസ്റ്റ് ഫീഡിങ് ആൻഡ് പോറ്റുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ എത്രയോ വർഷങ്ങളായില്ല. സോ ദാറ്റ്സ് നോട്ട് ജസ്റ്റിഫൈഡ് അറ്റ് ഓൾ. ദാറ്റ്സ് നോ നീഡ് ഫോർ എനി വൈറ്റമിൻസ് ഇൻ എ ടേം ബേബി വിത്ത് ആഡിക്വറ്റ് വെയിറ്റ്. എക്സ്ക്ലൂസീവ് ബ്രസ്റ്റ് ഫീഡിങ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എക്സ്ക്ലൂസീവ് ബ്രസ്റ്റ് ഫീഡിങ് തന്നെ ആയിരിക്കണം. ദാറ്റ്സ് നോ നീഡ് ഫോർ എനി വൈറ്റമിൻസ് ഇൻക്ലൂഡിംഗ് യുവർ vitamin D.
And Dr. Sindhu also mentioned the dietary diversification in the lactating mothers, right? With 3 meals, 3 snacks. So improving maternal diet is more important rather than supplementing babies, right?
That way, ആ പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു ആന്റിനേറ്റൽ സപ്ലിമെന്റേഷന്റെ അകത്ത് ഡെഫിനറ്റ്ലി അവിടെ ഒരു many mothers are deficient in vitamin D and neonatal hypocalcemia, vitamin D deficiency എന്നൊക്കെ പറയുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ definitely there is a role for supplementation of vitamin D2 and natal pregnancy. അവിടെ കാൽസ്യം vitamin D കൂടി ഇൻക്ലൂഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നതിന് ഒരു തെറ്റുമില്ല. That is much better idea rather than supplementing the newborn baby unnecessarily vitamin D or calcium to a term baby. Term baby exclusive breastfeeding exclusive breastfeeding ആയിരിക്കണം. If the reason for supplementation of a newborn with vitamin D is maternal deficiency, supplement the maternal mothers with the vitamin D adequate amount early enough.
Yes, sir. Most of our mothers are vitamin D deficient. That is also very well known. And recently they say in the preterm milk also, the preterm mothers producing preterm milk, there are extra factors which generate the brain growth. So there's nothing like substitute or adding to breast milk. I mean, instead of breast milk, just giving vitamins and all these micronutrients doesn't make the baby's brain grow. It is actually so many factors. It's a complex thing. So I think a preterm mother secretes preterm milk, which is actually very good for the brain growth of the preterm baby. So it's like designed like that so beautifully. So as Purushottam sir said, I don't think we need to even supplement. Only thing we're worried about zinc and iron in the preterm. So we supplement a little bit, but there's nothing to go away from that.
When we are supplementing, always there's a risk of excess also.
Correct. Yeah, that's also true.
Madam, today Dr. Faridi was mentioning rather than supplementing the babies with vitamin D drops.
Correct.
Supplementing the mothers during every immunization visit, 60
because
mothers.
Yeah, you're saying that was interesting because I mean, whenever we see this vitamin D, calcium low, not responding, if we do a vitamin D in the mothers, most probably all of them are vitamin D deficient, and then the baby is also deficient. So perhaps it will help. That's a study, no, Kamala? Sir was saying about a study which he has done.
Right, 2020.
Yeah, giving 60,000 units for the mother rather than the baby. And therefore, they have found that it improves the vitamin D levels in the babies. So that's a study done and it has been quoted. I think even Cochrane has taken it up. So I think maybe we should have more studies like that to come up. Maybe the mother was a better person. Even when we say about iron, we say that the iron from the breast milk is better absorbed, isn't it? So we encourage the mother to take iron. Yeah.
The postnatal consumption of iron and folic acid is less compared to the antenatal. Antenatally, most of the mothers are taking, but the postnatal they are not taking.
But for a preterm mother, I think we should all tell them when they go home that they should consume definitely. Even if not a term, we usually tell both. But preterm mothers, definitely you should encourage because anemia, the breast milk iron is better absorbed by the preterm babies. Yeah.
If there are no more queries, can we wind up the session? So it was a very excellent talk by Dr. Sindhu Madam. On behalf of IAP Thiruvananthapuram, I thank Dr. Sindhu T G from Kozhikode for the excellent talk and Dr. Kamala from Trivandrum for moderating the session. I also thank our IAP State President Jayaraman Sir and the Secretary Joni Sir for all the support for organizing this program. And I also thank all the senior faculties, Elizabeth Madam, Purushottam Sir, Indumati Madam, Shija Madam, all for a very interesting discussion about the topic. On behalf of IAP Thiruvananthapuram, I also thank each and every one of you for being here with us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Praveen, for arranging. Thank you, Sindhu.
Thank you.
Kamala.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Sure.
Thank you all. Good night.